Hi everyone, Abhijit Minhas here, and on this latest edition of Technique Tuesday, we're going to discuss the Deadbug exercise. So, the Deadbug exercise basically challenges our core to maintain a neutral alignment or like a neutral spinal position or neutral torso while moving our distal arms and legs. So we need a stable platform through which we can do our exercises. Just to give you an example, if you're trying to do a super heavy shoulder press, you might see people lift really heavy weights, and as they're pressing up, their back tends to arch a lot, right? So basically what's happening is you are loading a lot of weight on your arms, on your distal extremities, but the core is unable to maintain that neutral position because obviously this is not natural, like this is not how you stand, right? So one of the first things that gives up is your core. Another example of this would be maybe a push-up, where you see somebody when they're trying to push off the floor, the body doesn't lift off the floor as a unit, but as opposed to that goes off more off in a bent angle. What I mean by that is, in an ideal push-up, your whole body should be lifting off the floor like a core or like a unit. But if your core is weak, we often find that some of our patients or clients would probably do something like this, right? Or this. So I often use the analogy of a building to describe core stability and the importance of core stability in exercise. And the analogy is something like this. If you want to make a really tall building, you really need to dig deep initially to build a strong, stable foundation. The deeper your base of the building is, the higher the skyscraper could be made, just because that means more stability and increased height. So that's kind of a vague analogy that I give, often describing core stability. Remember that your lower back does not like to move around a lot under load. So if you're lifting heavy weights, you want your core to be able to stabilize your torso and your spine in a safe position. And that's why it's really important to work on core stability, just so that you can reduce the chances of injuries when you're working out. I like to start my core exercise with this dead bug, just because I want to go on the floor and just simplify things. Having said that, this exercise is simple but not easy, so I definitely want you to give it a try on the floor. Start here, and there's so many different variations of core strengthening exercise, and you can incorporate it different ways, but this is a nice baseline to start off with. So here we go. So the starting position for this exercise is going to be with your hips and your arms at about a 90-degree angle pointing up towards the ceiling. Your back is nice and flat. Now to execute the exercise, you want to try and maintain that normal curvature of the back, so you're not excessively pushing into the back, but you're not allowing your back to arch and lift off, while trying to straighten out your opposite arm and opposite leg, just like that. Trying to keep your back nice and flat again, coming back to your neutral position, and same thing on the other side. And back, and same thing on the other side again, trying to keep your spine nice and neutral. So some of the common mistakes I find my patients doing when they perform this exercise, number one is there's no intention of exercise. It's all about speed, which I definitely want you to avoid. So you want to make sure that you're thinking about what you're doing here, trying to keep your back nice and flat and slowly moving your arms and legs, as opposed to getting into the position and then just knocking out repetitions without thinking of breathing or the way your spine is, right? So the slower you go, you'll actually find it to be more challenging as opposed to going really fast. So the second common mistake that I find with this exercise is, after performing a couple of repetitions, as your core starts to fatigue, I often find that my patient's back starts to arch a lot. So the smaller the back, or the lower part of your back would actually make a little C or a small arch, and it's now lifted off, and you still continue to doing your repetitions and just knocking those out. So you want to make sure that defeats the purpose of the exercise. So you want to make sure that you don't have this room. Get your arms, your hand under your back, and it's more nice and flat there. And then slow down with that motion just a little bit. Back nice and flat, and back. If you find this exercise to be a tad too difficult right now, let's regress this a little bit. So one of the ways I like to regress or make it a little easier initially is just working on the arms or the legs, right? So one of the regressions would be just trying to move your legs and keeping your back nice and straight. And again. Or if that's too difficult, you could just hold your legs in this position and just move your arms initially. And just again, think about the intention of the exercise and trying to maintain a neutral spine and neutral core when you're doing this. Make sure you keep breathing along.